the push. Yeah. Oh, it's really nice.
What? I have to hold it down. Okay, it's 6 p.m. and I'll call this meeting to order. Everybody please stand for the invocation and pledge of allegiance. Please pray with me. Father, we thank you for today. We thank you for these men and women who volunteer their time to serve our community, who volunteer to run for this office. I pray your wisdom upon them. I pray your guidance in all of the decisions that they make, that we're able to keep cognizant of the things that are going on, and we pray your blessings on this community, and we pray a healing over this land from this pandemic. We praise you in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the God, to the Republic, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you in the name of Jesus.
Item C is the consent agenda. Are there any questions with regard to the consent agenda?
I would like to pull out number 3 for a couple of questions. And now,
I'm sorry, I didn't hear it. Which one?
I would like to pull number 3.
3?
Yes, sir, number 3.
Okay. And I have some questions regarding item 7 and 8 also. I'd like to pull those as well. We can go ahead and discuss item 3 then.
Yes,
No, sir. You need to go ahead and approve the others 1, 2, 4, 5, and 6, and then you'll take those 3 up separately.
I make a motion to
Is there a motion?
consent agenda, except 3.
3, and he wanted 5 and 6 pulled too.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, 7 and 8.
Okay, is there a second? The motion has been made and seconded that we approve items 1, 2, 4, and 5 and 6 as they currently read. Any questions or discussion? If not, do you have a comment? Yes, sir. Yes. No, we're gonna vote on items 1, 2, 4, 5, and 6 as they currently read. Are there any questions and discussion about those items? If not, those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed do same. Motion carries. Okay, we'll go to item number 3. Junior?
Yes, Mark, there's been a couple of times where we've had to adjust construction, something like this. Is it always, I know that it's 40 something thousand dollars over that. Though we always have that problem. I mean, I know that sometimes it's hard to be exactly pinpoint, but do we always have to change, like, for example, there are 45 or $40,000. Is it because they make a wrong move, or it's always consistent to that?
There's different reasons. Like the one before, it was when we spec'd it out. Rick can address it if there's a question that I can't answer, but we spec'd it out for a base model because the bids came in low. We could get the what was it called? Not this one, but the other one.
Flex rate with automatic goes.
And-
My name is Rick Reagan from Hanson, and the first one had to do with the bar screen where the water comes into the treatment plant. And when we spec, because we spec that the base model, just so we could make sure that we were within the bid limits. The bid limits came in low, and a vendor offered us a better model on that screen that would allow for when you get high flows of water, like a lot of rain, it'll open up and let more water go through, but it'll still capture the sand and the anything that comes in there that's large enough. And it's a little bit better model, and they gave us a big reduction on the price, but it still had it cost a little bit more than the base model.
So that was the reason for the first one. Now the second one is
The second one, the contractor encountered an electrical duct bank that ran right underneath where we're going to put this thing. It's not shown anywhere. and it would have come, if we left it in there, it would have been inside the chamber where the water flows. So we took it out, and what we did is we rerouted the thing around the clarifiers, and it's going to be have enough ductwork in it so that when we do the additional oxidation tank and the new clarifiers at a later date, it'll have enough capacity, enough put extra wiring in there for that. Also in the change order is deduction. We're taking out 72 feet of 24-inch pipe that we won't be using right now. That we'll wrap later at a later date when they put the new clarifier in. So whenever that comes.
Yes, on the rerouting, I understand that, it's hard to know whether it's going to be correct or not. But I mean, sometimes, like for example, there is like for the size of whole water lines, is it hard to determine whether you're going to use a bigger size of line or the line that you're going to use before? Is it difficult to discuss on that or no?
I apologize. I don't quite.
See, because I think that part of this is on the water lines. That the water lines on the sides that go from one size to a bigger size. Is that correct?
This duct bank was inside, and so there's no way for them to know exactly where it was and that it would cause a problem prior to bidding and getting in there.
Yeah, that's basically what my question, because we don't want to go through this and then we're going to have to change. Right now, 40,000 you seem like it's not that much, but when you pick up to 100,000 or 200,000 change and stuff like that, that's why I brought this question up. So thank you very much for the question.
Okay, on question, I guess we'll take them individually or together, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, you'll have to go ahead and vote on number 3.
Oh, okay. Are there any other questions with regards to item number 3? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion that we approve number 3 as is.
Motion has been made and seconded that item number 3 be approved as it currently reads. Any other questions or discussion? If not, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed to the same. Motion carries. Item 7, consideration and action to approve the Los Fresnos Community Development Corporation action to provide funding to purchase benches for the Los Fresnos Nature Park. I guess the question I had was that why do we have to go to the Community Development Board to purchase benches?
They are the ones that asked me to put it on the agenda to purchase two benches to put at the nature park. It came from them.
I'm sorry?
It came from them. They are the ones that asked me to put it on the agenda.
Neil? Came from the CDC?
Yes, sir. The CDC board at the meeting in September asked me to put an item on the agenda to purchase 2 benches for the nature park. And so that's what I did in November.
Okay. And what about, okay, then we'll go ahead and, I don't have a problem with benches. It's just that I don't like the idea of having to go to the CDC for everything that we need when something like that can be budgeted for very easily, I think. And I'm kind of surprised because normally you are pretty good about taking care of those things. I mean, from what I've seen. So, I mean, benches are not that expensive to where, I just want to see the money for that the CDC uses for business development. That's what it's there for. But for us to take it back from them, I just don't like that idea. But at any rate, if they made the suggestion themselves, I don't have a problem with it.
I will make one comment. The state law for economic development funds are for businesses, for infrastructure improvements and quality of life projects. And so through the years, we have funded a tremendous amount of quality of life projects through the Economic Development Corporation, as well as a ton of ones for the business too. So it is, you said that it was only for businesses, but it is also for parks and quality of life projects.
No, I'm aware that we do use it for that, but like I say, my preference is that it be used primarily for business, because it's the businesses that are going to bring back more money for them and for us as well. And obviously they've been doing a good job at it up until now, because, I mean, we see the revenue coming in much better than we see it in other communities even. So that's why I want to make sure that the funds are used appropriately. And I mean, quality of life, yeah, I'm all in favor of it. Even though walking would probably be better for improvement of quality of life than some benches where you're just going to sit there. But I can see where you might enjoy watching other people exercising, or the birds or whatever. So that's fine. Okay, then I'll go ahead and make a motion that we approve item 7 as it currently reads. Is there a second? Motion has been made and seconded that item 7 be approved as it currently reads. Any questions or discussion? If not, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed do same. Motion carries. Item 8 is, the same thing again. The only thing I would like to see is an amount. And like I say, I'm hoping that every time we need funding for something like this, we're not going to go to them. Was that also brought up by the CDC, or did somebody else make the recommendation?
Yes, sir. It was from the CDC, and they said we should have probably budgeted during budget time, and it is amount of $10,000, and it's for miscellaneous things that come up. They're working to get some volunteer groups to remove Brazilian peppers. In order to do that, you need to have supplies for those to do that, gloves and cutters and things, so that if a volunteer group comes to say, you know what, we'll take these 3 acres and remove all the Brazilian peppers, then we can supply them with those supplies to make that work. And so that was the idea behind having a little bit of funds to do that. Our city staff has some tools and stuff, but not for 20 people that are going to come and work maybe on a Saturday to do those things.
Mm-hmm. And it's good that if we use volunteers, perhaps we can get a committee of some sort and make it a permanent committee to work on those issues, that maybe also look for fundraising activities or grants or whatever. There's money out there for those kinds of projects. So it's just a matter of looking for it. And I think that if we do that, we all stand to benefit.
Yes, sir.
And there's plenty of volunteers out there. Like Los Fresnos is a community of volunteers, and I'm sure there's people out there that are willing to help out.
Yes, sir. If y'all recall, y'all appointed Mr. Herrera as on that committee as a council person. And then Mr. Andy Gonzalez is the person from the CDC that kind of takes those things with the nature park and runs with it. They've got experience with plants, with butterfly gardens, with those. And so that was why y'all decided on those back a year or so ago.
Okay. And the other thing is whatever we can do as a community, as a council to help out, we need to plan for those kind of activities as well. I mean, rather than go to the CDC, maybe we can appropriate funding for it in advance.
I'd like to make a comment.
Yes.
First of all, we have the bicycle trail. We're spending over $1 million on the bike trail, and that's going to bring people into our community. We've spent over $1 million on the nature park already, and this is just chicken feed that we're making it better. The bird blinds are going to bring in winter Texans every day. It's going to bring in the butterfly gardens. It's going to bring in lots and lots of people. And as far as community, these equipment is for the Rotary Club is already volunteered. Even some people from Brownsville to come and do something with the Brazilian peppers because they will destroy our nature park if we don't get it handled. And it's imperative that we get this handled. We spent over $1 million and didn't take care of the main problem we had is Brazilian peppers, and it wasn't taken care of. This should have been taken care of when we bought it. And to say, well, we have to wait till we put it on the budget, we can't do that. We need to do it. We need to get it now when we have the Rotary Club that's willing to do it. Thank you.
Any other questions or recommendations? If not, I'll go ahead and move that we approve item 8 as it currently reads. Is there a second? Motion has been made and seconded that item number 8 be approved as it currently reads. Any questions or discussion? If not, those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed to same. Motion carries. Item D is visitors' remarks. Do we have anybody? No? All right. Item E, action items. Item number 1 is discussion and action to award bidder for the City of Los Fresnos 9th Street lift station relocation, TXCDBG contract number 7219249. Mark?
In your packet, you have the my comments. You have a letter of recommendation from Hanson Professional Services. Again, Rick's here and also Paulina's here if you have any questions. The bid tab is on the next page, and you'll see that the lowest bidder was Jimmy Klausner and Sons Construction for $358,120. They're a very good contractor and do good work. It is above the amount of funding that we had. There's just so much funding that they give, and we pick a project that is most needed. And if you'll remember, the reason why we decided on this one was because the lift station's in somebody's backyard, and we wanted to move it. To cover the shortfall, we have some funds that we haven't used for moving a sewer line on Whipple Road because we don't have the easements. So my recommendation is utilize those funds now. We'll budget again later once we get the easements for the sewer on Whipple Road. Additionally, I made some comments that there's some things that we can get with the contractor on and maybe reduce some of those costs. We can't do it. We have to approve the official bid, and then we'll negotiate some of those down. Like we can remove one of the manholes we can do without, and the city can do some of the clearing of the some trees that are in the way that have to be moved that are on our easement. So that's our recommendation.
Any questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion. Motion has been made and seconded that we award a bidder for the city of Los Fresnos 9th Street lift station relocation. Contract number 7219249. Any other questions or discussion? If not, those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed to the same. Motion carries.
Is that a lift station that is in someone's backyard between West 9th and West 8th?
Yes.
Okay. I remember it. I'm glad I can still remember. I think I was the one that approached the people that were living there at that time to get their permission. So
They're mad at you now. But they're going to be happy, so, because it's going to be moved. They gave the easement. It was, put there with their permission. So just to be clear.
Okay, then we'll go on to item 2. Consideration and action to appoint a member to the Planning and Zoning Commission. Mark? Was somebody resigning? I didn't see that. Or somebody,
Yes, sir. In your packet, Mr. Alex Flores, the new mayor, is on that board. And so he vacated that spot.
okay. Does anybody have any recommendations for an individual for the Planning and Zoning Board at this time? Do we have any people signed up? No volunteers? Okay, then we're going to have to table this one and see if anybody might become interested in being appointed. And we'll bring it up at the next meeting. Hopefully, the new mayor will bring it up at the next meeting.
Will do.
All right. Item 3, consideration and action to approve utilization of COVID-19 funding.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, if you remember last time, we went over some items. And for your approval, 3 items the Texas Department of Emergency Management will not fund. The 3 items are on your paper that's highlighted. Number 1, businesses and residential credit on their water bill. If you'll remember, I proposed that because, in my opinion, everybody has suffered it in some way. And so we were wanting to credit the water bill. They say that's not an allowable expenditure through this program, and so that we can't do that. So that's $96,050. The other one that we did was full-time and part-time. Our employees all through this pandemic have come to work. We haven't stayed at home. And so it was to give them a little hazard pay, so to speak, and they will not fund that with just general employees. They will do like EMS people, they will. But so what that did is that freed up $139,000 and $139,970. And at the bottom, you'll see what we've added to come to that shortfall is the installation. You'd approved for some electronic motion censored sinks and toilets. That's to do the electrical and installation for those. LF Motors is an enclosed trailer. And then the second one's an open trailer. And you might say, well, what? Why would they prove that? Because we have a big staging area here with where they do test sites. And if you were around here anytime when they did the test sites, we had several of our people, both PD and Public Works, working that. So we can use those trailers for items below that where it says barricades, cones, and stop signs so that we can properly get these people in here so they don't run into each other and stay safe while they're here. We don't know if there's a second wave coming or not. Some people say yes, some people say no. We do know that they're talking about a vaccine already, and they will do that much the same way. So they will want us to hold vehicles, and what we want to do is hold them off of the roadway. We're fortunate the way we're set here, and the rodeo people allow us to use those grounds, and we can put barricades up and separate those people in line so that they can come and get their vaccine. So that's there. Another one's a canopy top where we usually have to, yes, sir.
Mark, the emergency people have been complaining that cars don't stop and they have trouble getting out, that they would like to have lights that stop traffic. It's kind of expensive. Would that fit in here? Because with all the responses they've had, they're in a hurry and they can't get out.
That won't fit in here, but the Community Development Corporation has already funded that 3 months ago.
Okay.
And y'all approved it. So
that's the one. Okay.
Yes, sir. That was the one. It didn't say lights. I can't remember how we worded it, but that was for that. So that has been ordered. When it comes in, TxDOT does require that they do the installation, and they'll do that for free. So that is coming. You're right. That's been a huge problem.
Okay.
The other one is we were able to get approval to do Motorola radios. Our radios are really old. They're like 13 years old, and that's real old for radios. We were able to get them to approve 10. And the reason why you say, how did you do that? One of the things we did when we had this is got our reserve officers in here to help with that so that we don't pull our other officers off the street. We don't have them in overtime, but they have to share radios. And so one of the COVID deal is you not to share radios and share things. So that'll help for this, but it'll also really help our budget way down the road. So that's there. Also some gloves, masks, sanitizer just for extra. We also have there for sanitation stations in the parks. One day we will be able to open the parks, but we want to have stations around the playground equipment, around the exercise equipment, around the basketball area, the restroom, where you can get sanitizer. So that's there. Then air purifiers. We're not doing that for every room, but like this room, we would have an air purifier in a couple corners. In our conference rooms, we would do that. Any place where there's multiple people in an office where there's just one person, we would not do that. So that's the air purifiers, and it's the one that they recommend that helps eliminate the mist of the COVID. Polaris, That is a four-wheel vehicle. Two reasons for it, and actually it was the states, the ones that recommended it, because we have a map on how we utilize this grounds for the test site and also for when we do vaccinations. And we use our police vehicles. They recommended us purchase these so that we don't have to have a vehicle, a police vehicle, going back and forth and doing the work here on grounds whenever they do it. Keep the police vehicle in the neighborhoods where they need to be. And so that was a recommendation straight from them. Fortunately, we'll be able to use it in the future for parks, work to do in the park. So it'll be multiple uses. And then just the miscellaneous items that would come up, and that will take care of all those funds. Unfortunate that we can't do with the water bill that we wanted, but we're subject to their approval. And so that's our recommendation on the balance, and then we'll be done with that. We have to turn this in Thursday to the state. They've already tentatively approved it, but the final date is Thursday for that to be submitted to them.
Mark, did they cite any reason why they would deny that we give the employees any amount of money?
They said they don't allow a blanket giving of that. Early on, they did. And I believe it was August 1st is when everybody was coming with the funding for hazard pay. And I say the state, but it really came from the federal government, ruled that they would no longer fund that. And so all of that went away. If you were lucky enough to have got it in June, well, then you could have kept it, but not any longer.
It's a shame because, I mean, even HEB was giving their SACers $500 each, give it to every employee. And it's a shame that
was probably their regular funds.
To the employees, especially the police, like I said. So I was remembering those comments about them not wearing the masks, and I remember the reason they didn't wear them was because they didn't have any. They were initially, when all this started,
not
there
ours,
was
sir.
no PPE, and the way they got their mask was through the Marine Military Academy. They had a group of people that made some, and they started making them for all the different police departments.
Okay, sir. We had masks from the very beginning. Please don't say that on record, because that's not true. Our people had masks from day one.
Well, that's not what I heard in our meeting when we were meeting here, but
You
say
can
they
ask any
did,
of them,
okay,
sir.
but
We also gave them eye protection as well, gloves, and that was from day one. That was our first conference call meeting that we had on it, and Hector went that day to get even glasses because we talked about the fact that should be covered too, and we did that.
what date do you call day one?
Early March.
Early March?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I remember that was an issue with several police departments, not just ours.
It was other police departments, not ours.
Okay.
I challenge you to ask them because it's we provided them day one.
Okay.
Mark, did the EMS get their funding from this?
Yes,
Very good.
that you approved last time.
Right. So they got it.
Some supplies, same thing, gloves, masks, those things, air breathing apparatus, and then part of a unit for them.
Or are we going to be able to purchase more PPE for staff?
Yes, sir.
We're going to need it.
Yes, sir.
I think
That's
that we
there.
need to do more, I mean, as much as we can now, because they say that the second wave is coming and it's going to be even worse.
Yes, sir. That's part of where it says mask, gloves, sanitizer. It's just extra for it'll last us for a very long time.
Okay. But get the good math in nines as well.
Excuse me.
I said get the good masks for them as
It's
well.
like these.
Are those the N9s?
Excuse me.
Or those the N9?
No,
We
They
should
don't-
get some of those as well.
they don't recommend that we utilize those. That should be stay for hospital personnel and EMS personnel.
Well, I think that if the police are out there and they're being exposed, I think they're going to need it. But, okay. Thank you.
Also, Mark, is, for example, of masks and all that, it's only for the use of the employees of the city of Fresno, so is it for some individuals that can't afford that, or how does that work?
It's just for the city and usage. And if you come to one of our buildings and you don't have one, we will get one out.
So you plan to put sanitizers on all the parks or just one around the city?
All of the parks.
Particular funding for all of these items that we have gone over. Is this a matter of, it has been approved, so it's either use it or lose it?
Yes, sir.
I move that we approve the utilization of COVID funds in the dollars.
I'll second.
Motion has been made and seconded that the COVID-19 be approved as stated. Are there any questions or discussion? If not, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed do the same. Motion carried. All right, item F is acknowledgement of the city manager's report. Mark?
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, a couple of things I'll mention is the hike and bike trail is started, and they're doing work. If you want to see that, drive out 2480 right there where that drainage ditch area is. You can see their work. The other item is drainage. In fact, Mr. Lopez and I went yesterday, Henderson Road, as you remember, right around Henderson Road and the railroad tracks. As it's on the north side, it drains into Drainage District 4's drainage area, and that was all backed up. We fortunately caught them. G&T Paving and the Drainage District were working on that pipe that is, what they actually did is covered it up some years back, and so it didn't drain properly. They had it uncovered and had an extension to where they drained that area off. Once they finish that, they're going to be able to access the area where it comes underneath the canal to that area, and we'll see what needs to happen and get that fixed. So it was good that we went when we did. Also, we had talked about south here. the two areas where the pipes has collapsed. They started working on that yesterday. I went out there today about 2:30 and couldn't tell exactly what all they were going to get done, but they are there working with an excavator and hopefully getting all that out. If you'll remember, the letter that we sent on behalf of the mayor and the council was to please just take those pipes and the old road crossing. It had already failed, so just take the pipe out there and leave a ditch, and that way it's not constricted at all. So they haven't said that they're going to do that, but there's no pipe laying there, so I'm sure that they're just going to dig it out and do what we have asked. So hopefully they'll do that. It's their ditch, but hopefully they'll take our recommendation. And that's really it. Got the rest written there.
Marcus, are they saying they're not going to do that, somebody, or what?
No, I was just making a comment. They have, if you'll remember, the reply from the letter is, we're working on it. We're busy. We have addressed it and heard what the city manager, Mark Milam, and the public works director, Carlos Salazar, has said. But they've been really busy. They will try to get to it. And that was the kind of summary of the letter. They didn't comment exactly what they would do. And so the drainage district.
I'm sorry?
The drainage district.
Oh. Okay. Go ahead.
I said I'd finished, unless y'all had questions, that I have it all written down there.
Are you asking me or telling me something? I have a difficult time understanding you with the mask.
I had just mentioned that I had said that was the only comments I had besides what was written down there, unless you had any questions.
Thank you. The only thing I wanted to make sure is that that area that we said was going to be developed through that, or that bridge or whatever it was going to be to that lot, get done. And that is part of that agreement, right?
I'm not clear on what you're saying.
I'm talking about the continuation of First Street to that land where we had to get the easement to continue the hike and bike trail.
Yes, I know where you're talking about now.
Yeah. Okay.
What specific?
No, I'm specifically saying that I do want to make sure that that gets done.
What?
The continuation of, you said they were going to build, put some pipes and put the street to get to that particular lot. It's part of the agreement for getting the easement.
Okay. If you'll recall, that was part of the hike and bike trail.
Yeah.
And it was what was approved already.
Yeah.
There was never any agreement to build the street. There was just the street. They can have access through what would be the street, but we were not going to build the street. That's another $100,000.
But that's what you said was gonna be an additional 204,000, I believe.
No, sir. No, sir. That was to fix the drainage pipe and move it off of where the street was so that when it is developed, they can have access and they can have access to their property there now, which is no different than the access that they have now up on the drainage ditch bank. And
So
that was
where
in
is
the
the
agreement.
access now?
Sir,
Where is the new access then?
the new access?
You said they do have access.
Correct. It will be through First Street.
Okay,
But First Street's not paved in that last block.
okay,
The people that own those properties would have to develop that street is the way we've done it always. All that we allowed for that gentleman is if we didn't move the drainage pipe back out of the way, he could not get to his property after we put the hike and bike trail in. So we're going to move that drainage pipe inlet back off of the right of way of First Street so that there's access that way.
okay, then I must have misunderstood you, but how much is that project going to cost then to do what you're saying you're gonna do?
Cost who?
Sorry?
Cost who?
I mean, well, who's gonna pay for it, Mark?
Pay for what, Mr. Mayor?
The pipes and all that.
It's part of the project. It's part of the hike and bike trail project, sir.
Oh, okay, okay, I got you. Yeah, okay, that's fine. That's fine, thank you. Any other questions? If not, I'll go ahead and move that we acknowledge the city manager's report.
I make a motion that we approve. Knowledge the city manager report.
So you're seconding? Second? Okay, motion has been made and seconded that we acknowledge the city manager's report. Those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed do same. Motion carries. Item G, acknowledgement of department head reports. Any questions with regards to the department head reports? If not, I'll go ahead and move that we acknowledge the department head reports as they currently read. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion has been made and seconded that we acknowledge the department head reports. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed do same. Motion carries. And it is 7:50 and we stand adjourned.